My name is Katarina Ivarsson. I'm Swedish, and I came to Hong Kong in 2005 to take a degree at PolyU School of Design. As many of you know, Hong Kong is a city that captures you, and it's easy to stay and easy to make your dreams come true in Hong Kong. What happened to me was that I started to work for a Taiwanese manufacturer. I worked in China, and being an industrial designer, being able to actually control your production and making the products that you design come out and look as you expected is a big advantage for you. So now I run Boris. We focus on product identity and research. I'll tell you more about this as I go into the presentation. I have a great management team. Anna, who I founded the studio with, she's sitting over there. And also Anders Hellberg, who's one of our design directors. Anna, she runs now the office in Stockholm, whereas Anders takes care of the design parts here in Hong Kong. And I do more the business development globally for Boris Design Studio. So we started off in Hong Kong. And starting off in Hong Kong was a very simple choice, actually. Because when I've been working in China, I came to Hong Kong and worked for a big Swedish agency. And in 2008, when the big financial crisis came, the world was trembling and nobody wanted to do, and nobody really wanted to start up new companies. And the finance that went into this design studio that I was working for was also worried about what they were going to do. So instead of continuing working there, as they were not, the funding was not coming into that company, me and Anna founded our own company. And during a time like a finance crisis, you might think that it's not the best idea to start a company. But being a small company in a small studio like we were able to actually meet the needs of clients who wanted a personal service, who wanted somebody they could talk to directly to, and knowing who the people were that they were delivering their designs, their identities, and their research. So for us, this was actually a very good start for us. And we worked from the beginning already with big clients. So the things that we do, I'm just going to go very quickly through these things. We're covering both product identity and design research. And this is something that we can see as an innovation circle, because you need to, a product these days is no longer only something that you look at and hold in your hand. It's something that has an identity and a digital experience behind it. And it's something also that needs to go into much more ecosystem in terms of, for example, IoT, Internet of Things, or other service systems. So by focusing on all these three areas, we're able to create better and more innovative products. And when you come to product and packaging design, we work in a very, very wide field of it. You can see everything is from fire emergency services to consumer electronics, interior designs, and also green and living products for better health indoors. Identity and digital design is something that we absolutely see as core for what we're doing right now, as people have so high expectations on what the products are. And we also see a big change that's going on in China, where the manufacturers that used to only produce for the Western market now want to create their own brands for the local market in China, and creating their own brands where their identity design and brand strategy comes in and it's really important for us, which is really one of the big markets that we're working on. One of the most interesting areas that we're working right now, and that's something that I would say sets us apart in what we're doing, is the design and trend research. And here we work with large corporations and actually help them illustrating the future in tangible products and tangible printed details. One of the things we did here, for example, is for IKEA, where we made the future catalog for them, and illustrating what an IKEA catalog would look into the future in terms of selling IoT services and subscriptions instead of pure furnitures. Well, you present something that everybody knows, like the IKEA catalog, in a different format, but with content of the future becomes much more tangible and easier for people to grasp. And this is also something that we work a lot with other companies and large corporations to provide them a tool also inside these companies to actually see what the future can be. So our clients is a very wide and big base, from like institutions to smaller companies and startups, but also big corporations. And here we might go back to what we call like this co-innovation that you mentioned before. That is actually about like connecting different groups to create new and great innovations. So looking into the bigger like institutions, universities, and what kind of research labs they have, and then actually connecting them to the actual enterprises and companies, together with design schools and design researchers, programmers and hardwares, creates a completely new way of creating innovations within companies. It's something, when you look at it, that seems quite, okay, yeah, that looks like a smart thing to do. But it's actually still quite new to be able to have these new meeting groups and creating these workshops and meeting spaces, because institutions, corporations, and this usually becomes quite isolated in what they're doing. And this is something that we started to do out here in Hong Kong, and which works out really well. And that's also based on the fact that everything is so close in Hong Kong. The proximity of people, buildings, and insight, and also, as you say, like this is a tight-knit community. It's a fantastic community to be in. The word of mouth travels, and that's how we also built our company here. But one of the things that we are also here to talk about is, of course, why we are here in Hong Kong. And I usually choose to talk about this as bridging the design gap of being a design company here in Hong Kong. And it's not actually only about being a design company. It's also about going down about how when you're a startup in Hong Kong, and when you, for example, want to connect to the IoT community in Shenzhen. Because when you're here, you can actually follow the complete design process. You can follow the process of your product. You can follow how it's going to be implemented in the factory, and you can also follow where the money you put into the project goes to. And by being here, you can control the process in a much faster and better way. And when you do that, you can secure the design investment. I could also say just secure the investment of time, and the investment of what you want to do in terms of your project. And Hong Kong really enables that, because you have all the great resources in Hong Kong. You have the production close in China. So creating a fast and quick ecosystem for building up your product and new brand is something that Hong Kong enables. One thing that we come on also when we look at the new IoT and the startups coming up, a lot of them have hardware. And being able to create good hardware, you need to be on location and you need to be close to what you're doing. So you need to be able to put support implementation on location. And with our own company, that's something we do. And I still also say that also applies for if you're a startup and here, you need to be here and see what's going on. You can't just hand that over to somebody else. And by being here in Hong Kong, you actually also save time and money. Even if Hong Kong is a very costly city, the efficiency that you can do things with here is really something that pays off in the end. Hong Kong is also a great test bed for ideas, both products and services, and see if it works in Hong Kong, it works in Asia, as they say. And this is something that I think is one of the biggest advantages for startup and companies coming here and to do this. And looking back at my own studio and starting Boris Design Studio here, I think we have been having a fantastic journey doing that. We were two women setting up a product design studio. Only that is, an uncommon thing to do. And being able now to stand here after 8 years and have two studios here in Hong Kong and in Sweden, and build that, by your own hands and hands-on way, I think that is a fantastic thing for us to be able to do. And most of it goes back to Hong Kong being the community that it is. That it is the things where you can meet people, you can share resources, and you can find out ways to do things quickly. And having the things that we see now of creating Hong Kong as a creative hub and a startup hub, I think they will make the most of that. Because we've had from a very long time in Hong Kong, we had a network community that shares information with each other, that directs people in the right direction. And doing that on a more controlled forms, I think will give Hong Kong even further into the possibilities of startup IoTs and entrepreneurship. And I think that was all for me now.